Hi, I'm Gero, and I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams Realty, and this is episode number 54 of Stow Place Like Home, where I talk with people in and around our community. Today we are talking my friend and neighbor Shawn King from Thistle Farm, and he and his family live here on this beautiful farm, and we are going to be talking to Shawn about tapping these maple trees for syrup and other things.
So the trees we tap are these ones down the driveway, and they're maple trees. And yeah, I mean it's fun. When we first moved in, there were a bunch of maple taps in the
Hi, Jen.
in the barn, and we figured out what they were because I didn't know what they were, and then we figured out how to use them, so we used them.
So you bought the house and you saw the taps.
Yeah,
and then you got
the barn.
interested.
And so then we're like, all right, cool. These must be maple trees someplace. So for the first few years, we just tapped the three up by the house, and then over the past few years, I started tapping these, and then some of my neighbor's yard too, because they're fine with that. So that was good.
That's great.
And yeah, it's fun. We tap. So a total, I think, 8 trees, and we have about 13 taps running on the trees.
Wow, can we look at them?
Yeah, sure. You can see holes for the tap. Like this is a hole from a previous tap, and yeah, I think they're usually either on this side of it. So yeah, you tap them, and so
when do you know it's time to start?
So you tap them after you have a stretch of weather where it's above freezing during the day and below freezing at night, and you have that weather for a week. So that's you, and it's been kind of screwy as of late over the past few years because sometimes that happens like in early February.
Oh.
But then you get another deep freeze in February, and it kind of messes things up. So it's usually anywhere from mid-February to late February into March. And I mean, I probably could still have them tapped right now, but
I thought they were tapped. I thought there was some down. You pulled them out.
Yep, no, we took them all out.
Okay.
I only had them tapped for about 2 weeks this year, and they were running pretty good. I probably got somewhere in the neighborhood of about 120 gallons of sap out of these trees. And it just depends on the day and the weather, if how fast they're flowing. But I had them tapped when we had that stretch of really warm weather where it was in the 60s, and I was getting 5 gallons.
Wow.
I was getting 10 gallons a tree each day.
So then once you get the sap, what do you do?
Then you just start boiling. So the ratio from sap to syrup is 40 to 1. So it's every 40 gallons of sap gets you to 1 gallon of syrup. And you boil and boil and boil and boil and boil and boil. And it slowly starts to reduce down, and it starts to change color, and you can see what it looks like as it's happening. And then you have to measure it, as you start getting closer to the end, you measure the temperature, and you're close to syrup when it's boiling at here 219 degrees, so 7 degrees above boiling point of water is when it is close to syrup. And at that point, you use what's called a hydrometer to test, I guess, its viscosity to make sure it's the right thickness. So once you get it up to 219, you put it in this little tube, and you float a hydrometer in it, and when it floats at the right level, then you have the right consistency of syrup.
And how does it taste?
It tastes pretty awesome.
It does, because I think you've given us some in the past.
So, and if you screw up like I did this year, and have in the past, when you get to that boiling point, where it's boiling, it goes very quick, and it can turn south real quick.
Oh, really?
So I boil it in a big pan, and then as I get closer to the final stage, I put it into a small pan. And when it's in that small pan and it's at the close stage, if you leave it and go put on a warmer shirt and come back, it will stain your driveway when it boils over. So
how'd that go over?
That was great. It was awesome. You can see the stains coming down the driveway. Anyways, so you have to be careful, and so when that happens, the syrup's really not that good anymore. It's not too tasty. So then you make maple sugar.
Oh.
So you boil it, then even hotter, you get it up to like 260 degrees. And then this is cool because once it gets to 260, you let it cool down, and you put it into a mixer, and you just start mixing. And it's liquid, and it's liquid, and it's liquid, and all of a sudden it becomes a solid, and then a granule, and it just starts becoming maple sugar.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's that's the backup plan. So this year I ended up making a lot of maple sugar, which the part I screwed up was only a little bit, but the plan this year was to make maple sugar, and I ended up making way too much. But it is fun. I don't know why it's fun, but it is fun, and it's and you just have to pay attention. So this year when I was boiling, it was beautiful days, so I was just working out of the camper and boiling and running in and out every now and then as it was boiling, and so I could work and do this at the same time. So
do you have any interest from your kids?
Oh yeah, they enjoy watching it and they enjoy eating it, and that's it. So
Nothing
normal
from your
kid
wife
stuff.
Either? Nobody's interested.
Well, they know
except to eat it.
They'll help if I ask, and
Right.
it's just mostly a lot of schlepping of buckets of stuff back and forth, and which is I don't know why, but part of the reason I do it. So.
That's cool. I know. Well, you live on this beautiful farm, so I love that you're doing that.
So it's fun. I usually have to get a hand from somebody, an extra set of hands when we're getting close to the final part. And there's a lot of, just a lot of boiling happening, and it's, heavy and hot. So, and at that point, I'll get someone to help. But other than that, yeah, it's all fun. Just do it for fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Shawn, for doing this.
Of course.
Thank you. It's cool.